Hey, what's good? What's poppin'? Welcome back to another recap of Power Book 2, Ghost. I'm here to give you the rundown on all the details from Episode 9, A Last Gift. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat. Before we get into 9, let's take a minute to recap Episode 8. So, last time we saw Lauren warning Tariq about Sax being a mole and the feds building a RICO case against him and the Tejadas. Tariq shares this with Davis, who accidentally tells his brother Theo, and things go haywire from there. Theo holds Sax at gunpoint and ends up pulling the trigger, killing Sax and himself. Meanwhile, Effie gets arrested, and when she comes face to face with Lauren, she finds out she's not being arrested for dealing, but for attempted murder. Oh, and Kane sees that Lauren is still alive. If you thought Episode 8 was wild, you will find that Episode 9 was even wilder. Sax may be gone, but he ain't done wreaking havoc. He's sending letters from beyond the grave, exposing secrets that could bring everyone down with him. Think about it. Relationships were shattered, trust was put to the test, and the balance of power shifted. Sax's last move was a game-changer, and the fallout was nothing but explosive. The episode kicks off with Kane leaving Effie's dorm looking like he just saw a ghost. Braden and Tariq got some explaining to do as to why Lauren is still alive. Kane quickly calls Davis before heading over to Davis's office, where Tariq is already snooping around. Kane storms into the office like a hurricane ready to wreck everything in sight. He confronts Tariq about setting up Effie, and before you know it, Tariq is swinging on Kane like a wild man, missing every shot. Watching Tariq attempt to fight Kane was like watching Urkel trying to take on a UFC fighter. And the way Kane tossed him around like a rag doll? Priceless. I couldn't help but laugh my ass off. Tariq, bro, you really need to take some boxing classes, ASAP. Thankfully, Davis shows up and stops the fight. Anyway, things get crazier when Tariq finds troubling information on Sax's cell phone. He discovers a photo of a police report from Detective Whitman, which proves that Monet had the motive to take out Lorenzo. Davis shows Tariq the actual police file and tells him that he kept a copy as leverage against Monet in case she turns on him. They realize that Sax may have shared this information, and the feds are aware of its existence. Tariq takes the file to hide. Meanwhile, at the precinct, Effie is in the interrogation room with Blanca and Jenny. Blanca is trying to get Effie to flip, but it looks like she's not budging. She ain't no snitch, at least not this time. Unable to make any headway with Effie, Blanca sends her back to the holding cell. Shortly after, both Jenny and Blanca receive text messages from Agent Medina, leading them to the morgue. There, they come face to face with Sax's lifeless body on the table. The guilt is evident on Jenny's face, and this only fuels her determination to bring down Tariq and anyone else connected to him. Now on to Kane. He straight up rams his Range Rover into Braden. Ouch, that's gonna leave a mark. Kane ain't playing games. He jumps out of his car and pulls his gun on Braden, demanding answers. He's got questions about Lauren surviving and whether Braden's a narc. Braden's lying there on the ground like a confused turtle, with no clue. Braden ends up needing to go to the hospital. Next, we see Monet, opening a letter from Sax, accusing Tariq of working with the feds and getting Diana arrested. The man's trying to stir the pot from beyond the grave. Diana is pissed, but Monet ain't easily fooled. She is skeptical and wants Diana to confirm if the allegations are true before taking any action. Smart move, Monet. In the hospital, Tariq visits Braden and learns about Kane's violent outbursts following Effie's arrest. Realizing they need a plan, Tariq decides to negotiate with Obi to buy them some time. He urges Braden to stay alert and step up, but Braden expresses his exhaustion and desire for a break. Tariq tells Braden that they need to track down Braden's shady Uncle Lucas to retrieve their money. Feeling the mounting pressure, Tariq knows he's treading on thin ice that's gradually getting thinner. And if that ain't enough, we got the whole Ponzi scheme madness going on at Weston and the no-cap all-frap and Ivy's operations temporary shutdown. Talk about bad timing, right? With all these setbacks, Tariq finds himself short on cash to pay Noma. That's when Obi enters the scene. Tariq strikes a deal with Obi to buy himself some precious time to meet Noma's quota while things are on hold. But Obi ain't just looking out for Tariq's best interests. Nah, he's got a personal stake in this game. We find out that Obi has a family in Nigeria, and he wants them to join him in the U.S. Green cards are the name of the game. So, Tariq, being the resourceful and desperate guy he is willing to do what it takes to help Obi out in exchange for his assistance. Tariq knows that time is of the essence, and Obi gives him a tight deadline of 72 hours to make things happen while he stalls Noma. Will Tariq be able to pull this off in just 72 hours? I'm surprised at this. Could Obi be an ally to Tariq? Now on to Evelyn and Monet. Evelyn confronts Monet about Gordo's whereabouts and the viral video of Drew confessing that Gordo is gone. Monet denies knowing anything about the video and accuses Evelyn of losing her mind. They argue, with Evelyn also accusing Monet of taking out her husband Frank, and Monet denies it and blames it on Lorenzo. The conversation ends with Evelyn questioning why Monet is not grieving Lorenzo's death. And let's just say, things got heated. Kane walks in and Evelyn leaves. Drew emerges from the shadows, and they both agree on the need to take out the Castillo family. We can't forget about Councilman Tate questioning Tariq's loyalty. Can we blame him, though? Tariq's knee-deep in Weston Holdings, and those rumors about their shady dealings are spreading like wildfire. But Tariq is acting like it's all good, like it's a walk in the park. Tate ain't buying it. He knows Tariq is lying. Tate takes matters in his own hands. He goes digging and ends up finding out about Weston Holdings. And guess what he does next? Tate blows the whistle to the SEC, placing a freeze on the company's accounts and launching an investigation. Talk about turning up the heat. Now, I gotta wonder, what's gonna happen when RSJ finds out? You know he's not gonna take this lightly. And what about Tariq's trust fund and the Tejada's money from Lorenzo's life insurance policy? It's all hanging in the balance now. The FBI launches an investigation and raids Weston Holding after Tate's tip. Davis pays a visit to Effie, and let's just say it didn't go as planned. Effie wasn't having any of it, and she called out Davis for smelling like a liquor store. Damn Effie, have some sympathy for the man, he's grieving. Davis claims he's the only one who can help her. How so? Isn't this a conflict of interest? How are you going to be everybody's lawyer? Laugh out loud. If this was the case, why didn't they let Proctor be both Ghost and Tommy's lawyer? Around the same time, Jenny reads one of Sax's letters addressed to her. The letter turns out to be a love letter from Sax, expressing his desire to be with her and start a family. He also reveals his plans to play dirty from beyond the grave. Jenny shares her determination to take down Tariq, Davis, and the Tejadas, vowing to bury them. Those are some serious last words, and it seems like Jenny is ready for a showdown. Jenny and Blanca spot Davis leaving the precinct and start accusing him. However, Davis snaps back, asserting that they know nothing, and threatens to sue them for harassment. The confrontation comes to an end as they back off, at least for now. Lucas, being the snake that he is, confesses to Blanca that he's not on the run for the Ponzi scheme but for his life. He reveals that he knows who is truly responsible for the scheme and also discloses the existence of a drug ring operating at Weston Holdings. Lucas seeks protection from Blanca and her team. Next, we see Kiki preparing to leave town, fearing the consequences of Lucas' actions. Brayden urges her not to run because of Lucas' mistakes and asks for Lucas' whereabouts. However, Kiki remains determined to leave and continues packing her bags. Brayden promises to resolve all the drama surrounding them. Then, we see Drew and Kane suited up to take out the Castillos. They go executioner style and gas them. Evelyn's last dying words to Drew was Monet wanted Lorenzo dead. But hold on, that's not even the half of it. Diana surprises Tariq by showing up at his dorm room to confront him about her recent arrest and question his involvement with the feds. Caught off guard, Tariq denies any collaboration. However, their conversation is abruptly interrupted by a call from RSJ, demanding Tariq's attention. RSJ informs him that Tate has blown the whistle to the SEC about Weston Holdings. Tariq assures RSJ that he will handle the situation. Shortly after the call, Tariq leaves his dorm room, unaware that Diana is secretly observing him around the corner. She breaks into his dorm room to snoop around and finds some police files with Lorenzo's fingerprints. Diana is trying to figure out if Monet had Poppy killed, and if so, what's stopping her from going after anyone who might pose a threat to her. Diana shares her findings with Drew, and you can see the gears turning in his head. He starts connecting the dots. Assuming that Tariq must have sparked this whole mess by telling Monet that Lorenzo killed Zeke, leading to Monet manipulating Gordo into thinking Lorenzo offed his Uncle Frank, ultimately resulting in Gordo killing Lorenzo. Diana finds it hard to believe that Monet would go to such extreme measures, but Kane confirms the truth. He reveals that Zeke's death was an accident, as Lorenzo mistook Zeke for Mecca. When Kane confronted Monet about it, she threatened his life. Talk about a dysfunctional family. The next scene is a showdown at Monet's house, where they're all up in her grill demanding answers about Lorenzo's fingerprints. But you know Monet, the queen of deception, plays dumb like she's auditioning for an Oscar. But she ain't fooling nobody. Drew sees right through her charades and calls her out on her bull. The accusations fly like arrows, with Monet desperately turning to Kane for an explanation. And what does Kane do? He blames Tariq for every dang thing that's gone wrong in their lives, accusing him of being the ultimate wrecking ball. Monet's web of lies and secrets is coming undone right before our eyes. This family is falling apart faster than a cheap suit. The tension escalates even further as Monet questions why they're letting Lorenzo get away with all the terrible things he's done. Monet ain't about to let Lorenzo off the hook. She's listing off every dirty deed he's done. From lying about Zeke's murder to sending Diana nosy but to Stansfield and turning her into a drug dealer and even getting Drew beat down by IG to cover his tracks. The argument reaches its climax as Monet kicks them all out of the house, showing her frustration by facepalming Drew. The emotions are running high. Anger, betrayal, and deep-seated family issues are all boiling over, like hot grits. And then we have Braden, who's caught between a rock named Kane and a hard place named Tariq. Will he choose family over loyalty? Braden doesn't want to end up like Tariq, who's a killer. Braden is reminded that he chose this life, and he has to live by the rules. This results in Braden getting his first body with his Uncle Lucas. Next, we witness Kane's misguided attempt to play lawyer and visit Effie. It's clear that Kane has feelings for Effie, but she keeps her distance and rejects his advances. Despite her cold demeanor, it's evident that Effie still has lingering feelings for Tariq deep down. Kane tries to convince Effie to snitch and place all the blame on Tariq. He believes that this will somehow help him and protect his family. However, Effie remains resilient and refuses to cooperate. Perhaps she sees through Kane's motives or simply can't bring herself to betray Tariq, whom she still loves. So, one of Sax's letters ends up with 2-bit and he comes to Tariq looking to collect. And you know what he ends up taking? Tariq's Porsche. Man, that's cold. Tariq ends up with 2-bit's grandma's car, but that's not even the craziest part. Tariq finds out that his mom's Witsec location may have been compromised and he calls Tamika to send the marshals. And then, he goes to protect his mom, Yaz, and Big Mama. Tariq is hiding to get the drop on Tommy. But just as Tommy's about to pull the trigger, Tariq steps in like a boss to save his mother. Things get intense real quick, and Tasha's screaming no, like her life depends on it, and just when we think it's about to go down. The scene cuts away to Tariq in the hospital, waking up to Tamika standing by his bedside. The first thing out of Tariq's mouth is, "Where's my mom?" And Tamika tells him Tasha's missing. Man, talk about a cliffhanger. Thanks for tuning in to my recap of Power Book 2, Ghost Episode 9. Until next time, stay safe and keep it real. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and comment with your thoughts and theories.